Hey, it's Luke from LT Gaming, and today we're going to talk about the new X4 Foundation's 9.00 Empire update. It's a public beta, and this is not one of those little few fixes, few tweaks and move along type of updates. This looks like Egosoft going back into the guts of X4 and giving some of the biggest systems a serious shake-up. It's exactly the kind of update that X4 and Egosoft are good at. Over the years, this game has grown from a brilliant but sometimes awkward sandbox into one of the most interesting space sims out there, and 9.00 feels like another step in that evolution. And before we jump in, drop a like on the video, consider it a small fuel donation for the LT Gaming fleet. Let's push X4 on the algorithm. At a high level, the Empire update is a major free update that touches several of X4's core pillars at once. Egosoft is pitching it around combat, strategy and the economy, and that already tells you this is meant to be more than just a content drop. It's the kind of patch that can actually change how the sandbox feels to play. That's really what makes it interesting to me. Obviously, this is one of my favourite games of all time. It has my most played hours on Steam, and I'm a huge fan of the X4 Interworld Star Wars mod. I mean, what a great thing that is. Look, X4 has already become a fantastic space sandbox in our opinion. But one of the reasons it's lasted is because Egosoft keeps coming back and improving the systems underneath it. That seems to be exactly what is happening here again, so let's dive in. The biggest story in this update is that Egosoft seems to be making X4 feel sharper across the board. Combat has had a huge balance and behaviour pass with better turret accuracy, improved destroyer behaviour, more organic AI aiming, better missile interception and broader rebalancing across weapons, shields and ships. So this is not just about making fights look nicer, it's about making combat feel more tactical and hopefully a lot less messy in those larger engagements. I have to say, coming back to X4 the last time, I was very impressed with how combat felt. What do you think? If you've seen that improvement, let me know in the comments below. At the same time, they're also making Empire control faster with the new priority order system. This is really awesome and it's one of the best additions in the whole update, and my eye got instantly drawn to this when I was reading the devlog. The simple version is that you can now issue immediate RTS style commands without completely wrecking a ship's existing order queue. And for anyone who has managed a busy fleet in X4, that sounds like a genuinely great quality of life improvement. And it does make the game feel less like a spreadsheet. I see a number of comments complaining about that aspect, though most LT gamers are super positive on X4 in the comments. Then on the economy side, there are some really interesting changes as well. Kha'ak Rex, I'm pretty sure that's how you say it, I've never really asked anybody else, can now be recycled into a new ware that can help cover shortages in production chains. While the mining system is being overhauled so resources become more localized and shift around over time, that will genuinely help. This means mining should feel a bit less static, a bit more dynamic, and more like something you actually need to react to rather than just solve once and forget about. Put all that together and this starts to feel like a proper systems update, not just new toys, but changes to the actual flow of combat, fleet management and the wider economy. And I think the player base and new players will greatly appreciate this. Outside of the big systemic changes, there are also some very cool X4 additions in here. The new ship showroom module is exactly the kind of feature I can see a lot of players loving, including myself, because it lets you properly display your favourite ships on a player station like some sort of space billionaire collector. Look everyone, it's certainly not essential, but it is very on brand for a game that lets your empire become personal, and that's a huge part of the immersive aspect for me, you know, my favourite word. Just a quick interlude to say most of you who watch the channel are not subscribed. So make sure to go down below and hit that subscribe button because it helps smaller channels like us grow really quickly, and both me and Tom really appreciate it. There's also some UI and map updates aimed at improving how it looks, which is always welcome in X4. And Egosoft is also improving NPC station construction so factions can build more elaborate and more visually coherent stations. I mean, you should see some of mine, I'm not sure the NPCs have anything to worry about. These all sound like smaller things, but honestly I was really excited to see them and it should help the universe feel more distinctive and a bit more alive. Now, it is worth saying this is still a public beta, so I would not expect every part of this update to land perfectly straight away. And before someone says anything about beta, that's how it's said in our part of the world, just so you know before you put it in the comments. Now, in some ways, the more ambitious the changes are, the more likely it is that the parts will need some tuning. A huge combat rebalance across hundreds of components is obviously going to need testing. A more dynamic mining and economic model could have some strange side effects at first. and even something like priority orders will really need players to get hands-on with it before we know how smooth it feels in the middle of a busy late-game Empire. But for me, the main thing right now is the direction, and the direction looks very strong. What I really like about this update is that it feels like a natural continuation of the bigger X4 story. Last time we talked about how X4 had become one of the best space sims you could play because of years of support, reworks and expansion, and the Empire update feels like it really is the next chapter in that and backs up what we said in 2025. Because Egosoft is not just adding more stuff for the sake of it, they are still refining the actual texture of the sandbox itself. The way the ships fight, the way fleets respond, the way resources flow, and the way your empire operates moment to moment. That is how you keep a game like this relevant years after release, and it's one of the reasons X4 still stands out in this genre. So overall, the X4 Foundations Empire update looks seriously promising. It feels like the kind of patch that could make the game not just bigger but better. Sharper combat, faster fleet control, and more dynamic economy, and a few extra quality of life and flavour additions on top make this one look like a very meaningful step forward for X4. Of course, beta is beta, so we will have to see how it settles once players get properly stuck into it. But you know, as a direction of travel, I think this looks excellent, and it's another reminder that X4 is still one of the most ambitious and best supported space sandboxes out there. I know a lot of the channel absolutely love this game. We always get so much love in the comments whenever we feature it, so it's always a pleasure to do that. Let us know what you are thinking or feeling about the title, whether good or bad. We always welcome constructive feedback as well. Sometimes when people write silly things, I go back to them, but you know, I'm only trying to wind them up a little bit, and it genuinely works. Tom's told me I'm not allowed to do that anymore though, so I'll behave myself mostly. But to sum up, are you more excited about the combat changes, the quicker fleet control, that's the one for me, or the economy shake-up? Do all that YouTube stuff, we really appreciate it, and we really love supporting games like these and other indie titles. I've been Luke from LT Gaming, and as always, I'll catch you on the next one.